Welcome to A Course in Business Miracles. This is Heather Dominick, creator of BusinessMiracles.com and founder and leader of the highly sensitive entrepreneur movement. Join me today for some genuine practical assistance and a business-altering and life-changing experience, a business miracle. This is A Course in Business Miracles, episode number 59, How to Stop Your Sensitivities from Sabotaging Your Self-Employment Success. Listen in as I share why most highly sensitive entrepreneurs are caught in this constant cycle of fear, lack of safety, coping, soothing, recovering, fear, lack of safety, coping, soothing, recovering, and then wonder why having what you want in your business seems nearly impossible when everyone else on the internet is making a massive go of it. It's a tough place to be in when self-employed, and there isn't any income goal amount you can reach that will help, no matter what a non-highly sensitive tries to tell you. In this episode, I'm going to teach you how to stop the cycle and how to start using your sensitivities as strengths in your business instead.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to today's teleclass on sensitive strengths, an intro class on how to stop your sensitivities from sabotaging your self-employment success, with founder and leader of the highly sensitive entrepreneur movement since 2010, Heather Dominick. I'm Lorna Lang, community curator and business coach for A Course in Business Miracles, Heather's mentoring program for highly sensitive entrepreneurs. You are in for a very, very special treat today, as Heather is a powerful teacher and mentor who has really walked the talk of how to manage your highly sensitive nervous system so that it works for you in your business. She has created and sustained a joyful seven-figure business by doing just that. I have personally been a client of Business Miracles for the last 10 years and have had the privilege of serving on Heather's team for the last 5 years as well. So I can truly attest to the shifts I have seen and how I experience my own business now from a place of excitement and enjoyment rather than doubt and fear. And part of that enjoyment definitely comes from the level of financial success I'm able to create in my business now. To serve on the Business Miracles team is also a true blessing for me. Heather really models how to use her strengths as a highly sensitive leader to create a collaborative, invested team, which also works from each of their own strengths so that more HSEs can be supported to their own success and serve the clients they are meant to serve in the world. We really are so fortunate to learn how to live and work in this way. So make sure you have your pen ready to take some notes. And it's my pleasure to welcome the founder and leader of the highly sensitive entrepreneur movement since 2010, Heather Dominick. Welcome, Heather.
Thank you so much, Lorna. Thank you. What a beautiful introduction. Hello and welcome. Welcome to the Business Miracles teleclass for highly sensitive entrepreneurs, HSEs, sensitive strength and intro class on how to stop your sensitivities from sabotaging your self-employment success. Yay, yay, yay. You are here. Together, let's take in a deep breath. Deep breath in and let it out. Beautiful. As Lorna so beautifully said, I am Heather Dominick, founder and leader of the highly sensitive entrepreneur movement since 2010. And again, I am so very glad that you are here. Now more than ever, HSEs are needed in the world from a place of strength rather than shadow. Please make sure you have a pen, pencil, something to write with, and a piece of paper, and I want you to write that down. I'll say it again. Now more than ever, HSEs are needed in the world from a place of strength rather than shadow. As HSEs, most of us were not taught how to use our sensitive abilities as a positive force in our lives. Instead, we unconsciously learned how to barely cope in order to just get by. And most importantly, to continue to hide our sensitivity as a dirty little secret, convinced that if we found out or if we were found out, we would be shamed. I've identified in my work what I refer to as 3 HSE coping mechanisms, and you'll want to write these down. Again, 3 HSE coping mechanisms. There's the coping mechanism of hiding, the coping mechanism of pushing, and the coping mechanism of what I call combo flattering. Let me tell you a little bit more about each of these coping mechanisms. The coping mechanism of hiding. When you defer and default to the coping mechanism of hiding, you are an expert at finding anything and everything to do, typically as a martyr for others, other than what is needed to move your business forward. Most likely, as a hider, you have a beautiful website, you have beautiful marketing materials, you have programs that have really been fleshed out, you have completely researched everything that's needed for those programs to be offered, you have multiple certifications, and yet no one is buying your service. Money is not being generated through your business. At the end of the day, you have been really busy, but not in business. Deep breath in and let it out. The coping mechanism of pushing. If you are a pusher as a highly sensitive entrepreneur, you will get done what the other 80%, as I refer to them, the non-highly sensitives, you'll get done what the other 80% get done, but it will come at a high cost, often in the form of a health or a relationship crisis, and or simply you find yourself absolutely worn out, overexhausted at the end of the day, end of the week, end of a major launch or push, quote unquote, in your business. I am absolutely a recovering pusher. I will out myself to you right now. That was my experience bringing my business across the $1 million mark almost 10 years ago. It was a very dark night of the soul for me, which I'll tell you a little bit more about in a moment. But first, the coping mechanism of combo flattering. Deep breath in and let it out. If you defer to the combo flattering coping mechanism, that is when you jump back and forth between hiding and pushing and hiding and pushing. This is my definition of HSE insanity. A lot of effort is being exerted, but you're not going very far, if anywhere. There's a real experience of 1 foot on the gas and 1 foot on the brake. All 3 HSE coping mechanisms are part of what I have developed as the HSE coping cycle, a constant cycle of fear, lack of safety, coping, soothing, recovering, fear, lack of safety, coping, soothing, recovering, all as an attempt to cope with the anxiety of being highly sensitive in a world that is not designed for us. And guess what is absolutely a major anxiety producer? Being self-employed. You must move beyond coping into learning how to manage your energy as a highly sensitive entrepreneur, which gives you access to your HSE strengths. You must learn as an HSE to move beyond coping into the energy of creating. Please write that down. Anyone who knows me knows I deliver high value teaching right up until the very end. So this class will be about 45 minutes, and then I will open up for a live Q&A session. If at any time you have a question about the teaching I'm delivering, be sure to write it down so that you can bring it to the Q&A session. We will be giving you instructions at Q&A time about how to step forward and ask a question. Deep breath in and let it out. Be here on this call. Listen to my words. How you choose to show up for this class is your demonstration to yourself, the universe, about how you are choosing to show up in general for your business, your life, your calling. My invitation to you is that you make that choice clearly for yourself right now. If your choice is to be here, then I also ask for your permission to allow me to lead you during our time together today. Please write that down. And let's take a deep breath in and let it out. And then take a free hand, one that perhaps is not holding a phone, and tap it on your heart 3 times. Tap it on your third eye 3 times, that space in between your 2 physical eyes. Tap on the top of your head 3 times, and pull on a free ear, opening yourself up to truly receive exactly what you're meant to receive during our time together today. Now, since you're on this call, you most likely fall into one of 3 HSE categories. Be sure to mark and write down which HSE category applies to you. HSE category A. You are a highly sensitive person who feels the call to be self-employed, but you have no idea what to offer as a business, and you recognize it's important you receive aligned support sooner rather than later so that you can create financial success from the get-go. HSE category B. You're a highly sensitive person who already has a business, and you've tried just about everything to get this business to work for you. But the courses you've taken and the coaches you've hired weren't designed to support your highly sensitive nature, so they didn't work so well for you, leaving you most likely frustrated and doubting your abilities to be able to make this business thing work. HSE category C. You're already a highly successful business owner, 6 to 7 figures annually, who recently discovered you're highly sensitive and now realize why all of your efforts, though successful, have felt disjointed, not fully satisfying, and you want to be able to continue your financial success, but you recognize that you must learn to do it differently in a way that matches who you generally are deep down to your core. Deep breath in and let it out. So which one are you? HSE category A, B, or C? Whether you are A, B, or C, what I can tell you is that you are in the right place. Not only are you in the right place by being on this teleclass, you're in the only place dedicated and designed to serve those of us who are highly sensitive and called to be self-employed. The only place. Please write that down. I have personally somewhat experienced all 3 HSE categories. Everything I teach and mentor on comes from my own experience of being self-employed as a person who is highly sensitive and how to really best have that work for me. This month, right here, right now, marks my 16th year of being self-employed. When I started my first business as a nutrition and wellness coach, I did not know that I was highly sensitive. I wish that I had known. I wish that I had known and that there had been support like I now offer in all of the Business Miracles mentoring programs for HSEs, because everything would have been so different. That was absolutely my version of HSE category A. I felt so much fear about being able to just pay my bills. I started my first business as a nutrition and wellness coach 2 years after declaring personal bankruptcy, and no one was supporting me financially. I did not have a trust fund. I did not have parents who were bankrolling me. I did not have a spouse paying my way. And it's the same to this day, though now I can say that I am happily married to my sweetheart husband, Stephen. We are about to celebrate 17 years together and 13 married, which is pretty great considering that through my 20s and most of my 30s, I also could not maintain a romantic relationship to save my life. I was also so confused about what I was doing and the way I was meant to be doing it in my business. My head felt like a constant swirl of self-doubt, fear, and obsessive questioning about how to make enough money to at least get by. I did build my first practice to full capacity in 9 months' time, but was barely making the salary I had made as a public high school teacher. And if anyone knows anything about the public school system in the United States, that is not very much. But I can tell you, because of this, I was motivated to heal my money story. And I brought my business across the $1 million mark 5 years later. However, as I briefly mentioned already, it was an absolutely miserable experience. I can honestly say it was a dark night of the soul. I was overwhelmed, I was overworked, and I was massively overexhausted. And in this dark night, I questioned everything. I asked what was wrong with me. Why wasn't this coaching thing working for me? Why does it seem so much easier for everyone else? Do I really want this to be my life? Is this what it takes to be successfully self-employed? My version of HSE Category B. This dark time of self-inquiry led me to Dr. Elaine Aron, the founding researcher of the highly sensitive person. Now, when I met Dr. Aron, I was not so surprised to find out that I was highly sensitive, though I had never heard that term before or knew what it meant. But once I did, it did not surprise me. What did surprise me was how highly sensitive I was. And because I am and have always been a firm believer in what I teach in the foundational principle trainings of the Course in Business Miracles 6-month mentoring program, and one of those teachings is that your ideal client is a version of you, I decided to take one of Dr. Aron's assessments into an in-person meeting, a group of 25 women entrepreneurs that I was coaching at the time. And so because I believe and teach that your ideal client is a version of you, it was not a surprise to me that every woman in the room was also highly sensitive. But what was a surprise to me is that not one woman wanted to be highly sensitive. They saw it as a label that meant they were weak, that it was a detriment, and that there was something wrong with them. This experience is a culmination of my version of HSE Category C. Now, let me be very clear. My dark night of the soul was not because of the amount of money I had generated in my business, but because of the way I had gone about it. Please write that down. It was absolutely this moment, this experience where the HSE movement was born. And at that time, no one else was talking about this on the internet or anywhere else for that matter. And I was even told not to use the words highly sensitive in my marketing because either no one would get it or they would be repelled by it. Yet I knew this was my mission. So since that day, I have continued to create and grow my own great body of work based on research that pulls from psychology, sociology, neuroscience, spirituality, coaching techniques, and more in order to continuously serve the evolution and growth of the HSE members of the Business Miracles community, all to support highly sensitives in being able to be successfully self-employed for the long term. Please write that down. This is not a quick fix or a paint by numbers formula. And it's definitely not information only based. Please also write that down. The work we do in Business Miracles is what I refer to as the real work. It is an inner and outer approach, and that is absolutely what's needed. It is a full retraining about how you see and manage yourself, your business, and overall what it means to be in business as a person who's highly sensitive. And that's where the name Business Miracles was born from. I was introduced to the psychological and spiritual curriculum of A Course in Miracles after my mother died in a bicycle accident when I was 14 years old. Now, according to A Course in Miracles, the definition of a miracle is a shift in perception. Please write that down. A shift in perception. That's what's needed for us HSEs. We must be willing to do it differently. Now here at A Course in Business Miracles, we are open to all spiritual and religious beliefs, but at the heart of what I teach is this willingness to engage in the process of shifting your perception to create business miracles as a highly sensitive entrepreneur. Please write that down. So what does it mean, actually, to be an HSE? Well, first of all, what it means is nothing is wrong with you. Write that down. Next, your nervous system is simply wired differently. You were born this way. This is not something that your parents did to you. It's not something you picked up on the playground, or it's not because of that weird drink that you had at a party in college. According to Dr. Aaron, 20% of the global population is born into the world highly sensitive. Now, through my research, I've identified what I refer to as the top 12 HSE shadows and the top 12 HSE strengths. This is what differentiates us from those who are not highly sensitive, the other 80%. The thing is that most of us have unconsciously learned to operate from our shadows rather than our strengths. Write that down. Now, the top 3 shadows that I want to speak to today are overwhelm, overprotection, and over-responsibility. Let me tell you a little bit more about each of these. What does it mean in terms of the HSE shadow of overwhelm? That is to be overpowered by thoughts, feelings, or energies, yours and or others. Overprotection, to protect someone or something, including yourself, more than is necessary or reasonable. Over-responsibility, to respond to something or someone too strongly. Deep breath in and let it out. Now, these shadows tend to directly trigger us into our HSE coping mechanisms. As I mentioned earlier, most HSEs are operating from their shadows and coping mechanisms most of the time. It's all you know. It's what you've come to believe is your normal. It might show up for you in the form of not really knowing how to talk about what you do, or your head goes fuzzy when asked a lot of questions all at once, or the energy of a networking event or a business conference or just being out in public with a lot of people is massively overwhelming, leaving you exhausted, spending more time in your hotel room than connecting with people, feeling like you've just been flooded with everyone's anxiety and nerves. Or it shows up by working with clients, tends to leave you feeling flooded by their energy. Or maybe for you, it's that you have a lot of visionary ideas for your business, but can't quite seem to get them finished or even started. Or all the other people in your life, kids, spouse, parents, friends, pets need so much from you that at the end of the day, not a lot is available or left over to be able to invest in your business. Or you take on so many unpaid leadership positions that there isn't time left to really market your own business in the way that you need to. Or it just takes so much to drive projects across the finish line, plus take care of family, that what little time and energy is left is spent just recuperating, recovering, so that you can start it all over again. Caught in that constant cycle of fear, lack of safety, coping, soothing, recovering. Deep breath in and let it out. Which is why the foundational principle training number 1 in the Business Miracles 6-month mentoring program is so important and imperative. The foundational principle training is called Transform Fear into Financial Freedom. It's where I teach you how to manage your energy consistently as a highly sensitive entrepreneur so that your experience is no longer that the world is happening to you, but instead you learn how to proactively create everything in your day, your business, your life. This is you learning how to access and use one of your top HSE strengths, the HSE strength of creativity. Write that down. We are a very creative bunch, us HSEs. We are also intuitive. We are empathic. We are deep thinkers, deep feelers, and deep listeners. These are HSE strengths, or I like to say, our amazing superpowers that are available to support you in your business when you learn how to access and use them in a purposeful way, which is everything that the great body of work I've created and continue to create is designed to teach you, starting with those foundational principles in the Business Miracles 6-month mentoring program, which is why as HSEs, it's not so much about what you do, but the way you do it. Write that down. It's also why the worldwide HSEs I've mentored have included dentists, real estate brokers, coaches of all kinds, education specialists, therapists, skincare product creators, musicians, dancers, accountants, corporate strategists, massage therapists, acupuncturists, insurance brokers, copywriters, ghostwriters, animal healers, essential oil distributors, math tutors, professional organizers, equine experts, energy healers, writers, yoga studio owners, videographers, jewelry designers, professional speakers, naturopaths, architects, environmental engineers, photo organizers, interior designers, personal stylists, personal trainers, web designers, Reiki practitioners, actors, multimedia artists, channelers, clothing designers, opera singers, and more. Deep breath in and let it out. Now, if you know that you are meant to be among them, then I invite you to go to www.hsementoring.com. That's HSEmentoring.com. When you go to hsementoring.com, you'll find a special 48-hour only $1,000 tuition savings as my way of honoring your being a part of this class, and a special bonus live video training with me for the first 5 to enroll as part of this special open enrollment period. And now here's what I want you to really get as an HSE, whether you're HSE category A, B, or C, and you'll want to write these down. What I want you to really get is number 1. No matter what your business is called, you're providing a service of healing, whether you're aware of it or not. Number 2, you must structure the marketing, selling, and operations of your business to match your highly sensitive nature, and it's going to look a lot different than the other 80%. 3, this all takes courage, which is why I've designed all the Business Miracles mentoring programs, starting with the 6-month mentoring and program, to include 3 key elements that are necessary in the retraining and transformational process we must undergo as HSEs. And you'll want to write these down. So transformation key element number 1 for us HSEs is community. Now that might just sound crazy, because so many highly sensitives have spent so much time avoiding groups. However, community is very different when it's comprised of all highly sensitive entrepreneurs. And the community has consciously been designed specifically for highly sensitive entrepreneurs. For example, the virtual and digital elements of the Business Miracles mentoring programs have all been designed to support the practice of what I refer to as V and V energy. Write this down, V and V energy, which stands for visibility and vulnerability, the willingness to be seen for who you really are. So all program elements support the practice of this V and V energy, because that's what's needed in order to be successfully self-employed. Now, the program elements that support the practice of V and V energy, those are training recordings, those are weekly community calls, and online forum systems that are all designed to create a safe space. V and V is a theme that runs throughout the foundational teachings I share in the Business Miracles 6-month mentoring program. For example, foundational principle training number 1, transform fear into financial freedom. Foundational principle training number 3, understand the miracle of marketing and selling. Now, I can't really talk about the miracle of marketing and selling without having recent 6-month member Kimberly come to mind. Kimberly is an artist. She's a teacher. She's a workshop leader. And through the practice of V and V, she has scheduled multiple workshops in a very short amount of time, including 3 workshops that she recently scheduled in just 1 week, where previously she was not scheduling any workshops. She is also generating more money in her business and setting up systems to be able to do even more income generation than she's ever done before. When Kimberly and I first met, she let me know that she just wasn't even sure how she would ever be able to step into the 6-month mentoring program. And now she has actually shifted her program into the elite mentoring program. And she also shared with me that she has finally found her home. So this element of community and V is so imperative important, and it also threads throughout foundational principle trainings number 10 and 11, increase your income, parts 1 and 2, offline and online marketing, foundational principle training number 12, writing miraculous marketing copy, and foundational principle training number 13, magnifying your marketing mindset. We practice V and V as it relates to all aspects of your business as an HSE, inner and outer. Write that down. Now, the Business Miracles coach team is also a key component of the ongoing activation of this powerful element number 1 of community. They are consistently receiving ongoing training from myself and turning around and immediately paying it forward to our Business Miracles community of HSEs. The coach team is constantly available to you for ongoing support, all so that hiders can't hide, pushers are gracefully called out when seen in their pushing mechanism, and combo platterers are continuously provided the opportunity to create balance. You see this at work every day in the 6-month mentoring program, but especially during Get It Done Day. Now you'll want to write that down, Get It Done Day. Get It Done Day is when we come together as a virtual community for an entire online day. It's where I share brand new teachings. It's where the coach team supports the community in real time throughout the day on the forum. And it's where we get things done in our businesses as HSEs that never would be possible for each of us on our own. It is a major, inspiring project creation day. And you really experience the power of element number 1, community, during Get It Done Day. But even more than Get It Done Day, where you really feel community as part of being a part of the Business Miracles mentoring programs, is our in-person training retreats that happen in the spring and the fall. The in-person training retreat is a 6-month foundational principle training anchor. HSEs travel from all around the world: France, the UK, Germany, Hawaii, Iceland, the Middle East, Africa, Denmark, Netherlands, Spain, France, Canada, across the entire U.S. to attend a Business Miracles training retreat. Why? Because nothing like this is happening anywhere else. But you must be part of the Business Miracles mentoring programs in order to participate in an in-person training retreat. I get asked all the time if someone can just drop in to a training retreat, and the answer all the time is no. There's no event ticket price that would gain you access. Also, the level of training that happens at a training retreat must take place in person. Just the act of getting there as HSEs creates transformation. Now, who really comes to mind when I talk about training retreats is Business Miracles member Jackie. Jackie is a real estate broker. And when she and I first connected and she was stepping into the 6-month program, she was coming off of a really difficult time in her life, a really difficult divorce, being distraught in terms of emotions, and having her business really suffer as a result. And through her work in the 6-month mentoring program, she really discovered who she is as a highly sensitive, really put the tools into practice, and is now just generating more income than she can actually even imagine. She just recently shared on a Business Miracles podcast that she had set a goal for herself and then couldn't believe that she actually met that income goal as a result of her participation in the Business Miracles mentoring programs, particularly the training retreats. It is experiential work we do together, which creates a gentle transformation. I want you to write that down. Gentle transformation, which is exactly what's needed for us HSEs. There's no loud music, no cold basement ballrooms, no being forced to dance and high five or get up at the crack of dawn, no staying awake until midnight hours and then left untethered after the event to try to put yourself back together. That's not evolution, that's entertainment. Business Miracles training retreats are so powerful for the work that takes place while we are there together, and the container of community and mentoring support that continues when you get back home. Write that down. Each training retreat is where I reveal the next level of teachings I've designed for our community of highly sensitive entrepreneurs. The fall 2019 training retreat will be on the topic of making peace with making more money from your HSE strengths than you've ever made before. And that is the power of transformational key element number 1, community. Now, key element number 2 is core practice. Write that down. Shifting HSE shadows and coping mechanism into strengths and creativity takes diligence. Community and the coach team will hold you accountable. However, core practice is about developing practices that are geared toward keeping your business moving forward and you connected to your HSE strengths, rather than reacting from your shadows to the energy that's constantly coming at you as a person who is self-employed. Now, the FPTs, the Foundational Principle Trainings from the 6-month mentoring program that supports the development of core practice. Again, FPT1, Transform Fear into Financial Freedom. Honestly, FPT1 is just a constant must. FPT2, Becoming Friends with Time. This is about how to relate to time and business actions differently from your own circadian rhythm and the belief that this can be done and is possible. And I kind of can't talk about changing your relationship with time without thinking about Business Miracles member Karen. And probably because I just had a private mentor call with her yesterday. When Karen and I first met, she was still in corporate, and we discovered that she had the tendency to constantly pray to the email icon. That's what we called it, where everything just was so reactive in terms of her behavior. Karen is a highly sensitive entrepreneur who's a photo organizer. And as a result of her experience in the Business Miracles mentoring programs, she has generated her highest income to date. She's had her best tax year ever. She no longer is a slave to that email icon, and she's really stepping into such a beautiful creation of balance within her business that also includes time off. She is truly changing the story from her corporate days, and this also all while being a new grandmother, which just goes to show that it truly is never too late. Karen has a mantra that she is not retired. She is in business. It's so super awesome and inspiring. And you can see so many inspiring HSE success stories at www.hsementoring.com. Now, let me tell you about some other FPTs that also emphasize the element of core practice. FPT4, to use your uniqueness to attract clients instantly. FPT5, to activate your ideal client attraction plan. FPT6, to shift from selling to serving. And FPT7, to set up your HSE selling success system. Now, again, all of these foundational principle trainings are so important because whether you're just starting out or this is your last ditch effort, or you've been successfully self-employed for years and have just discovered you're highly sensitive, you must learn how to approach all aspects of being in business in a different way. But especially, you must learn how to approach the act of selling from the perspective of your HSE strengths. That's why FPT6 and FPT7 are super uber important. Write that down. So important to learn to shift from selling to serving and to learn to set up your HSE selling success system. Now, whether you've never sold a thing in your life or you've been selling for years, an approach that is designed to use your HSE strengths such as intuition, deep listening, deep feeling, as Dr. Aaron says, to step into the royal advisor role that you have been brought here to fill. When you learn how to sell from your HSE strengths, it becomes a whole lot easier, a whole lot more fun. The pushy, fear-based approach is so of the other 80%, and it is also so last century. Write that down. This is such a crux to the entire HSE journey that in addition to the 13 foundational principle trainings and all other real-time coach team support aspects of the Business Miracles 6-month mentoring program, you also receive a full 4-part video training where I model for you and intricately break down how to have a selling conversation as an HSE step by step. And again, you can see all of that at hsementoring.com. That's hsementoring.com. And again, I've also added a live bonus video training class that will be on the HSE Selling Success System directly with me for the first 5 to enroll in the 6-month mentoring program from this teleclass. FPT 6 and FPT 7 are that important. Write that down. HSEmentoring.com. Now, just before we begin to wrap, let me quickly say that we are only able to open 15 spots in total at this time in the 6-month mentoring program. And again, the first 5 also receive an additional live video training with me on the HSE Selling Success System. And you will also receive a $1,000 tuition savings for the next 48 hours to honor your participation in this class. HSEmentoring.com. Before we move into Q&A, I want to speak to transformation key element number 3, consistency. So key element number 1 is community, key element number 2 is core practice, and key element number 3 is consistency. Be sure you've written these down. Now, consistency is an area we tend to really struggle with as HSEs. Oh, sure, the pushers will make it happen, but at a cost. And the hiders will be martyred for helping everyone without generating any income. And the combo platters will drive themselves insane. Gas break, gas break, gas break, going nowhere. This is all about when our HSE visionary strength works against us. You, as a highly sensitive, are able to see the big picture for others, also yourself, but then being able to break it down into step-by-step, doable for you chunks. That is the key. And yes, when you are able to do this, then you can create HSE financial success this way. Doable, step-by-step chunks. That is what the key element of consistency is really about. Now, again, where are you going to learn this element of consistency in the 6-month mentoring program? FPT 1, transform fear into financial freedom. You must learn to manage your fears, worries, doubts consistently so that you are creating each business day proactively rather than reactively. Write that down. You're also going to learn the key element of consistency in FPT 8. Choosing magnitude over littleness. You must learn to choose over and over and over again your power as a person who is highly sensitive rather than your quote unquote weakness. Now, others who are not in the Business Miracles community will be quick to tell you that you're weird, you're wrong, or that your way will never work. And I'm here to tell you, not true. Do it differently? Yes. Wrong or ineffective? No. And that's really what FPT number 9, designing a magnetic marketing map, is really about. So that you're setting up your marketing so that it's happening consistently. The more supportive systems you have to keep you on focus track, the better. Then your HSE strength of creativity can be channeled to work for you rather than against you, as well as your HSE strength of intuition and your strength of being spiritual by nature, all available to be supportive of you in your business when you learn how. Now, again, you can see all of the FPTs and program elements I've just mentioned in more detail, as well as to, again, enroll and claim one of the open 15 spots and to be one of the first 5 so that you can receive the additional live training with me and that $1,000 tuition savings. And all of that is at hsementoring.com. Now, we are at 45 minutes, but before I open up for Q&A, which is going to be quite powerful, so I recommend that you stay on the line, I do want to share just 3 final notes with you, so stay with me. Final note number 1, success. Success is meant to look different for each HSE. Please write that down. For some, a client load of 3 to 5 clients is their calling. For others, it's many more. And for some HSEs, it's a variety of projects, corporations, organizations, or even a certain number of original music tracks created and sold. Same with income. Whether your version of solid, sustainable HSE financial success is $20,000 per year, $200,000 per year, or $2 million per year, there is no shame or judgment in the Business Miracles community. And I want you to write that down. What there is a dedicated mentor, coach team, community, trainings, and teachings dedicated to you discovering and developing what your HSE path is meant to look like, so that you have consistent, grounded experience of empowerment, peace, and prosperity, not only in your business, but your entire lifetime. And your version of HSE success is your version. Write that down. And anyone on the internet or anywhere else in your life who tries to tell you that your version is a reason to be filled with shame, well, they should be ashamed. Deep breath in and let it out. Final important note number 2, who the Business Miracles 6-month mentoring program is not for. This is not for you if, 1, you're not highly sensitive. 2, you're committed to remaining a victim to your highly sensitive nature. Now, there's many groups on Facebook and posts on Instagram that will support you in staying in your shadows and enabling you with how to barely get by each day as you soothe your way through. And you can find those, but the Business Miracles community is not that place. We are about support. We are about strength. We are about empowerment for each HSE. And again, we have multiple systems in place as a coach team to ensure that you are held accountable to this path of true transformation. So this is also not for you if you want others to enable you or to do the work for you. You're looking for a community where you can poach clients. You're not ready or willing to do the real work, but instead you're still committed to the fantasy of a quick fix formula. Or you tend towards the behavior of persecution and blame rather than personal responsibility for your choices and experiences. Deep breath in and let it out. Now, the Business Miracles 6-month mentoring program is for you if you are highly sensitive and you are HSE category A, B, or C. You have a high level of commitment to your business success and follow through. You have a high level of personal and energetic responsibility and are committed to fulfilling your calling in this lifetime as a highly sensitive entrepreneur. You both understand and value high-level mentoring along with the power of a like-minded community, and you're willing to be held accountable. Deep breath and let it out. Final note number 3. According to author Daniel Pink, who's also a researcher and author of the book A Whole New Mind, we are moving from an economy and a society built on the logical, linear, computer-like capabilities of the information age to an economy and a society built on the inventive, empathic, visionary capabilities of what's rising in its place, the conceptual age. Leadership is about empathy. It is about having the ability to relate and to connect with people for the purpose of inspiring and empowering their lives. The time of the HSE is now. Write that down. But being highly sensitive is not enough. We must learn how to use our HSE strengths to be the new conceptual age leaders that the world is needing, that the world is crying out for. Allow yourself to be supported. Allow yourself to make the money you are meant to make in the way that you are meant to make it, whether you are HSE category A, B, or C. HSEmentoring.com $1,000 savings for 48 hours, only 15 spots open, 5 special bonus seats. I so look forward to beginning our mentoring relationship and to seeing you learn how to stop sabotaging your success, how to stop the HSE coping cycle of fear, lack of safety, coping, soothing, recovering, and finally truly step into your sensitive strengths and have them really working for you in your business. Deep breaths and let it out. Beautiful. And with that, let's move into opening up the line for Q&A. We are going to start with Jennifer. And it looks like Jennifer is calling in from Virginia, or at least your phone is. Jennifer, welcome.
Hi, thank you.
Yes. How are you?
I'm doing well. Yes, I am Jennifer, and I'm calling from Virginia, and I'm category A.
Welcome, welcome. How may I support you today?
Well, I am a licensed massage therapist, so this is extremely hard for me to get going. I am very highly sensitive, and I'm constantly thinking about this, and every time I think about it, something comes up, and I'm sabotaging it, and I have huge amounts of fear. And the more I think about it, the more overwhelmed I get by it, and I don't do anything.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. You are far from the first highly sensitive that I've heard this from, as well as that was 100% my own experience when I first started out. So absolutely that category A. So really everything that you're sharing is exactly why that foundational principle training number 1 is so important. It's where I teach 4 tangible energy management tools. And I emphasize the word tangible because we have to learn as highly sensitives to get out of our head and also to be able to get out of our own nervous system. So by taking pen to by taking pen to paper, it really helps us to be able to manage our energy. Now, what's also important about that process of managing energy and the way that I teach it in FPT1 is that we take to energy management as a core practice consistently so that we are managing our energy before the fear kicks in, before the overwhelm takes us over. Absolutely, energy management is there to support you in the midst of fear or in the midst of overwhelm. But what we're really aiming for is that it becomes such a consistent core practice that it literally starts to change the way that our nervous system reacts, and so that it is able to respond in a way that is much more grounded and supportive for us rather than hijacking us and taking us out. So that's why to just have that as foundational principle training number 1 is so important. And it just continues and continues. And that this is where then also, the community and the coach team support in regards to accountability with that energy management. Because, what I tend to find is that when HSEs start in the 6-month mentoring program, they're super gung-ho about that energy management. But then like anything and everything with us HSEs, it tends to fall off the plate a little bit. And so the accountability helps bring us back. Yes. Definitely. And then that way, believe it or not, then you're able to, like, through that energy management, you're actually able to start talking to people about your business. And the thing about it, Jennifer, is that we need you out there talking about your business because there's people who really need what you have to offer as a massage therapist.
Corporate on-site
That's right.
Massage is important because these people are stressed.
Anyone and anywhere. But also, honestly, Jennifer, there are your clients who are your ideal clients that are not meant to be served by other massage therapists. They're meant to be served by you. So that's why we need you in that space where you can be out in the world talking to people in a way that just feels so comfortable to you, talking about your services in a way that feels so comfortable to you, and receiving compensation in a way that feels comfortable to you. And it all begins with
that would be so
FPT1.
amazing.
Yes, it is. It is. It is amazing.
To be able to do all that.
Yes. Yes. Well, I have seen it happen. As I'm talking to you, a gal, Lisa, is coming to mind who is in the 6-month program, and she is stepping away from being a nursing career for years, and into being a Reiki practitioner. And I've seen her make some of these transformations that I'm speaking to you about, and it's so wonderful to see. So it's available for you too.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're so welcome. You're so welcome, and I so look forward to being able to serve and support you more. Thank you for stepping forward and being the first one to ask a question today.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right, beautiful. Let's all take a deep breath in and let it out. And yes, it is absolutely possible. Of course, probably as you're listening, if you're in category A or even B, your mind is like, yeah, really nice, Heather, sounds good, not really believing it. And all I can say is go to hsementoring.com and look at the stories there and just take in what other HSEs have been able to create, because absolutely it can be for you too. Okay. All right. Beautiful. And from there, I think we're going to go to Miss Jade from Australia. Is that how you say your name? My social media friend is Jade.
Hey.
How do I pronounce your name? Hi.
Yes, that's right, Jade. Hey, Heather.
Hi. Did I pronounce your name correctly?
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. So I'm Jade, and
great.
I'm calling from Sydney, Australia, and I'm definitely category A. So a very fresh, not previously mentored, and I have a number of qualifications, as you can imagine, and I would say I'm definitely in the higher category. And now it's just time. I made some decisions at the beginning of the year that I wasn't going to work in isolation, and that I'd be not doing any other training unless it was super specialised training that I really need, which is exactly how I've come to find the HSC training. So via a few avenues, and so that's just from the start of the year. So I'll just keep my questions simple. So when you're in the 6-month mentoring program, when the trainee anchor retreat comes up, does it matter what point you are in the mentoring program? Like if you're 3 months in, for example, when you register, and the next training retreat is scheduled and it comes up, does it matter what point in the program you're at, in order to attend?
Great question. Great question. And no, it does not matter. So as I mentioned, the in-person training retreats are where I reveal new teachings for HSEs in the Business Miracles community. And the training retreat is always about inner work. So we have to be able to come together in person to be able to do that deeper transformational inner work. And then that inner work from the training retreat impacts how we then go back into the day-to-day of our business and are able to create those practical outer work actions. So at the training retreat, it's for the entire Business Miracles community. So first of all, there are people at the training retreat who are in their first month of Business Miracles mentoring, and there are members who are in their 10th year of Business Miracles mentoring. And what I deliver, whether you are 1 month, 10 years, or anywhere in between, absolutely is applicable to where each and every HSE in the room is at. And it's designed that way on purpose.
Excellent. Perfect. Yeah, because it's just relevant. Once the date comes up, you want to be able to attend if you can, despite where you're at in the program. That's awesome.
That's right. Yeah, it's a beautiful question. I'm so glad you asked that. And I know it's just going to be a joyful day when I get to meet you in person at the Business Miracles training retreat. So,
I could go on how well it clicks with me. And I first discovered like our January, our sort of end of year is a really hot and relentless summer, and often we take time off over that time.
Yes. So I will plan on seeing you in the fall. Yeah. Thank you, Jade. Thank you so much for stepping forward.
You're welcome.
So appreciate
Thanks,
you. Okay. Thank you. Beautiful. Let's take a deep breath in and let it out. And really such a great question, because what I really appreciate about that question from Jade is that it speaks to the fact that our process as HSEs is never, quote unquote, over, right? It's not like, oh, I'm just going to learn like these few couple marketing techniques and then I'll be good to go. As I mentioned during the class, it's truly a retraining of the way that you see yourself as a person who's highly sensitive, the way that you relate to your business as a person who's highly sensitive, and that's all aspects of your business, whether it's operations, marketing, selling, you name it. So there's this constant, beautiful returning, deepening of the work. And that's so much of what happens at our in-person time together. And like I said, there's a new teaching and topic that's revealed for each training retreat. And our fall 2019 training retreat is all about making peace with making more money from your HSE strengths than you've ever made before. And I'm very, very excited to share that with everyone who attends in the fall. Beautiful. And so from there, let's go to Sean, who looks like is calling in from Florida. Sean, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yes, you're welcome.
Okay. Well, I don't know if I really have a question so much as a statement. It's very interesting listening to what you said. Like, how did you know that I do all those things? Like, was this like a thing? Like, is this something that everybody does? I never knew that this was something about me.
Yes. Well, let me ask you. So your name is Sean. You're calling in from Florida. Mm-hmm. And are you category A, B, or C?
Oh, I'm A, but I'm also B because I have been an entrepreneur since 1997. And truthfully, I was never really successful. I never made money. And I just kind of accepted, like, well, maybe it's just not my thing. I just don't make money. And like, what a terrible movie to put into my subconscious. So I'm really want to make money. And I'm at a time in my life where that is super important. And I feel like the universe puts the right people in front of me when they need to. And I don't know, your thing popped up. I'm like, who's this? What is this about? Yes. And I just said, just check it out. Check it out. So I did.
Yes. Well, I'm so glad you did. And I'm so glad you're here. And so then back to your question, how do I know? So it's because it's who I am. And as I spoke about during the class, I really, really, really struggled during that dark night of the soul, that questioning, and very similar to like you just shared, maybe this just isn't meant for me. And then once I discovered that I was highly sensitive, and then once I discovered that the clients that I was serving were also highly sensitive, then it really, really struck me something very, very important is happening here. And if our nervous system is wired differently than the other 80%, then we have to go about this business thing differently. And then, like I said, during the class, I have really, truly dedicated, every moment in my business since then to researching, discovering, developing, what it is that HSEs need. How can that be turned into, easy to use, applicable tools? And I also am just watching others like you, constantly transforming as a result of the work, which just continues to motivate me and fuel me to continue the work. And, as I'm listening to you, I think about this member. Her name is Kay. And when she and I first met, it was at a small in-person gathering, and she came up to me at the end of the teaching, and she was literally sobbing. And Kay is in her 60s, and she is very, very talented in what she does as a dietitian and nutritionist, and yet just had not been able to generate that income. And Kay is just at such a beautiful place now, and really just so focused in her work and in her training, and has a full practice, and took a 3-week vacation to Europe with her husband last summer, and life has shifted. It has turned around. So category A, B, absolutely change can be made. Yeah. And that's how I know, because I just live it every single day. Yeah.
I'm ready for the change. I have so many talents. I have so much to offer. Of course, I've got all kinds of credentials.
I know it.
I said that. I'm like, oh my God.
Yes. Yeah. I know it.
When I read your pre-material, like doing the test, it's like, are you sensitive to loud noises? I'm like, I don't know, maybe. I was in a class yesterday. The teacher was so loud, and I always sit in the front. She was so loud, I had to move to the back. I'm like, oh my God.
Yes. Yes.
Here I am.
Yes. Yes. I'm so glad you're here, because you're welcome. It all starts to change, and then suddenly not only does business become successful, but it actually becomes enjoyable, and life just becomes so much more rewarding. And rather than this kind of thing that we have to brace ourselves against, this thing that we have to cope our way through, it turns into an experience that we get to co-create. And it's a beautiful, beautiful, rewarding process. You know, I like to say all the time, like, do we really, each one of us, want to get to the point where we take our last breath and on our grave it says, she got through? Or do we want it to say, that's right. I know, me either. Then we, or do we want it to say, like, she created what she came here to create. So that's the work that we do.
Yeah. She changed the world.
Yeah. In her way. Good. In her way. Whatever that's meant to be for each of us. Yeah. So glad you're here.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome. All right, beautiful. Let's take a deep breath in and let it out. Awesome. And from there, we have someone who's calling in. It looks like from Michigan, but we don't have a name. So welcome.
Thank you.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi.
Yes.
My name is Melissa. I'm guessing it's for me because I'm from Michigan.
Yes. Yes.
And I am category A. I've got some things in the works. I'm an author. And anyway, so I tend to be a combo platter. So I released a book last year, and I really did a big 3-month push to release that book. And then I just crashed afterwards. And it took me a good 3 months to get back to even just the basics of what I needed to be doing, building my platform and things like that. But then a recent health crisis has kind of woken me up and said, hey, you're not, I knew I wasn't like other people, but it kind of woke me up, and my husband as well. And it just said, we really need to pursue working on our own terms, and because there's a lot of stress with my job and everything else. So just trying to do that stress management. But it'll get to my question, because my husband and I are both HSEs. He tends to be more of a hider, but I think he has some pushing in him. But he tends to be where he's at in his life right now. And so I was just wondering what your recommendation is for working with other HSEs, if there's a good way to do that. I'm assuming there is.
Yeah, it's a great question. So first of all, for all of us, for each of us as HSEs, it really is about getting to know yourself, right? And what it is that you need so that you can be operating as successfully as possible as an HSE for yourself, in your business, in your life. And then from that place, then you are more accessible to be able to support someone else as an HSE. But more than anything, whether others in your life are also highly sensitive, whether they're entrepreneurs or not, or whether they're not highly sensitive. So much of what we talk about and focus on in the Business Miracles mentoring programs is how to engage within relationships with others, right? Because that's what business is, whether it's a relationship with a prospect, relationship with a client, relationship with a spouse, children, parents, friends, family. It all comes into the picture because everything for us as highly sensitive is holistic. So it absolutely then becomes about, once you know what you need as an HSE, then how to be able to communicate it and be in communication with others, whether your husband is also an HSE or not. And some of that has to do with boundaries. Some of it has to do with what I call difficult conversations. And some of it just has to do with good old plain clear communication. But again, where we have to bring it back to first is ourselves, right? Before we can even kind of go out there and try to get it clear or be clear for anyone else, it has to start with ourselves. And, so then I just bring it baxt again to that FPT1 and FPT2, because those two are so significant. The energy management and then also how you relate with time impacts how you relate with others. So I hope that's helpful enough, because it's not necessarily a quick, easy, tie the bow question, but it is a really, really important, it's an important aspect that I'm glad that you brought up, because we have to learn how to manage being in relationship with others as part of being in business for ourselves as highly sensitive.
Okay, thank you.
So you're welcome. Tell me what you got from all of that.
Well, we've been kind of working on that, the communication thing and the boundaries. And it's been a process over the last few years that we've kind of both discovered we're highly sensitive, we're empathic, introverted, of course. And so we're still in that process of learning, like, it's okay if we both need alone time. Like, it doesn't mean we don't like each other. It's just, we can go to a different room and work on what we need to work on. So it's a process. For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a process, and it's so worthwhile engaging in it. And then again, just really learning how to be most effective in that communication. Although you did mention one thing, which just, is interesting for me to highlight just for a moment in terms of introversion. So I just want to highlight that for those of us who are highly sensitive, some of us are introverts and some of us are not so much introverts. So that's always helpful to be able to keep in mind as well, is that one doesn't necessarily always equal the other, whether that's for you or anyone else in your life who's highly sensitive as well. So thanks for highlighting that too. Okay, beautiful. Thank you so much. You're welcome. Awesome. And so again, that's www.hsementoring.com, hsementoring.com. And I'll just put an invitation out. Any remaining thoughts, comments, questions before we wrap this live Q&A portion of our live teleclass for today? Okay, last couple of questions. We have Catherine, who's calling in from California. Catherine, welcome.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, good. Okay, this is Catherine. I'm in the A and B categories. I'm very excited about the program. I've been an entrepreneur my entire life, and I've changed careers 3 times because I kept thinking I didn't have a thick enough skin. And I've been a successful architect. I've been a successful real estate broker, but I've never made the money that I thought I should, and I've never felt good about it. And I am, well, first of all, I want to sign up. I know I do. But I need to talk to somebody about the dates, because there aren't any dates listed on your website.
Oh, and what are the dates that you need?
Well, I'm currently retraining myself as a massage therapist. I've been doing this sort of for the last 10 years. So I started a business and have been working in it in 10 years, but now I've gone through a divorce. I've gone through some other personal things, and I want to take it to the next level. I'm in a massage training program that's pretty date specific. Like I can't really miss certain weekends. So I kind of want to know about the fall dates for the in-person event.
I can give those to you.
And,
sure, I can give those to you right now.
And then maybe a little bit, and maybe a little bit more for everybody else also about the format of the 6-month program and what we might expect on like a day and, weekend basis.
Absolutely. Yeah. Beautiful question. Is that relevant?
Okay.
Yeah, most definitely. So first, let me just say, I can just, one, hear in your voice, but also just really feel in your energy, how ready you are to really now step into really understanding that you can be in business in a way that is not about how thick your skin is, but really is more about how much you can access your HSE strengths. And you will then really, truly have that experience that I've been sharing, like when I talked about Kay and, and I've talked about, so many of the others, Jackie and, I talked about Kimberly. So I can just, again, hear and feel the readiness for you. And so with that, just the invitation to be able to step into what I refer to as the openness to both and. Right? And I would definitely recommend that everyone writes this down. The openness to both and, which so often our mind will tell us like, oh, I can only do one thing or the other, or I have to do this way or that way. And so I really, as I'm just, tuning into you, I have full confidence that you can do both the additional training and this business training and support that you need to really, really, truly once and for all, receive that return on the gifts that you have to offer to the world. So with that said, I will say that, so first of all, your foundational principle trainings are delivered every other week, and those are pre-recorded, so they're waiting for you in your email inbox and also what we refer to as the Online Learning Center. And you have 2 weeks to engage in that training. Every week, every Thursday, at 1 p.m. Eastern is a live core practice consistency call. And that's where everyone in the 6-month program comes together. And you are supported by a member of the Business Miracles coach team. And then monthly, there's a community-wide core practice consistency call with myself. And those are really the key elements of the program. In addition to that is the forum that you're utilizing to be able to ask questions and engage with other members in the 6-month mentoring program, as well as with the coach team and with myself, so that we're supporting you with any questions that you have in regards to FPTs or anything that's going on in your business, as well as any way that your life is being impacted by your business as a highly sensitive. And then our in-person training dates, which I believe these are on the website, but definitely let me say them. So that's happening November 3rd, 4th, and 5th. November 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And we start in the late afternoon on the 3rd, and we complete in the evening on the 5th for the 6-month mentoring program. Is that helpful?
Yes. And do you know where that one's going to be?
Yes, it's going to be in Saratoga Springs, New York, which is in upstate New York, and is definitely our fall training retreat home. It's in a beautiful, historic hotel that's on the grounds of a state park that have natural mineral waters running through the park, and it's very, very nourishing space for a training retreat. It's also where I was born and baptized and married.
Beautiful. Aww.
Yes. And as I mentioned, we have members who travel from across the country. One of our team members is from California as well as, around the world. And you can easily fly into Albany, and then it's just a 40-minute ride to the retreat location.
Awesome.
So how is that helpful, Catherine? Tell me.
It was very helpful.
Good. I'm glad.
Yeah, that's
well.
perfect.
Again, I feel the readiness, and I still look forward to serving you and supporting you in the program.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Take a deep breath in and let it out. And again, that's hsementoring.com for just 15 spots open. I don't know where we're at right now, but we are only opening 15 spots at this time. And again, first 5 receive an additional live video training with me in addition to the curriculum. And then we have one last question before we wrap for today. And there's no name or number, so I guess you're calling in from the internet. So I'm just going to say hello, and maybe you know who you are. Hello and welcome.
Hi, I'm so sorry about that. I have myself on mute. This is Dawn. I'm calling from California, and I'm in A, except for I know what I want to do. That's the only difference. I had a question for you. I am a high sensation seeking HSE, and I was wondering if that's something that you talk about in your program, because I find I'm constantly dealing with this duality.
Yes, absolutely. I so appreciate that you brought that up. So high sensation seeking is another term developed by Dr. Elaine Aron. And my experience has been is that most of us HSEs have some degree of high sensation seeking, although it definitely shows up in different ways and at different degrees for each of the HSEs. So we don't necessarily have a solo teaching that's only about the high sensation seeking aspect, but it definitely is part of the ongoing conversation. And again, that's really where that FPT1 comes in, because managing the energy is not just about managing the shadow aspects of our highly sensitive nervous system, but often is about managing that high sensation seeking as well, right? So that it can be working for us in the same way that we have the highly sensitive aspect of our nature working for us as well. Yes. So I definitely say yes, for sure. You know, one of the questions I get all the time about myself is, how can I be a highly sensitive person who lives in Manhattan, New York? And one of the things that I say is, one, I always have, very sacred, quiet apartment spaces. I've always been fortunate to have that to go back and live to. I don't live in Midtown. I really have very lovely neighborhoods that I've lived in, and Manhattan definitely fills my high sensation seeking. Yeah. So not always. And I have to really manage it, and being able to work from home, as an HSE is part of what really helps me be able to live in Manhattan. I think I would probably be a pancake if I had to travel to Midtown every single day to work, but I don't. So I can really choose how the city that I live in and that I love serves and supports my high sensation seeking rather than working against it. So yes, that is absolutely part of the conversation.
When you were saying those things before about like the loud music or the 12-hour day, like I love that stuff and I live for it, and I take crazy risks, but they're not combined with my HSE. I kind of sabotage myself. So I take these crazy risks with no plan.
Yeah.
Just super sensitive.
That's what, yes. Yeah, that's what we want to learn how to hone, so it's working for you and not against you. And you're definitely not the only one in the community who their high sensation seeking comes out in the same way as what you're describing, for sure.
Awesome. Yeah. I love to hear that. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. And I appreciate the class.
You're so welcome.
Awesome. Thank you for your time.
I'm so glad. You're so welcome. Thank you. All right, let's take a deep breath in and let it out. So again, hsementoring.com, 48 hours for $1,000 savings, 15 open spots at this time. I'm not sure if the first 5 are still available or not, but those are the bonus seats. And I so look forward to serving and supporting you. If you're a person who's highly sensitive, who's category A, B, or C, absolutely you can create success in a way that matches who you are as a highly sensitive in this world. And again, it is absolutely so very needed in this world at this time. And I so look forward to serving, supporting you, and mentoring you so that you can absolutely be having HSE financial success in a way that matches who you are, has you fulfilling your calling at this very, very important time. Final deep breath and let it out. And again, hsementoring.com. I so look forward to serving and supporting you and really seeing everything transform for you as a person who's highly sensitive, who is meant to experience your own healing as you support others through the work of your business as an HSE. So hsementoring.com, and I so look forward to seeing you, serving you, supporting you again real soon. Have a great rest of your day, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of A Course in Business Miracles. If you're ready to learn how to use your highly sensitive abilities to support you in being purposeful, profitable, and empowered rather than scattered, poor, and undervalued, take my free self-quiz to find out if you are indeed a highly